Hello guys and welcome back. So we're going to continue adding some more stuff, and I'm going to create this bit here, and I'm going to select this edge. It's actually very simple. I'm going to select, come on, 3, select that edge, hit the T key. The controller is not facing the right angle, so I'm going to right click on this box here and change it to world. I'm going to move this a bit. With the selection, with the edge selected, I'm going to keep that. Hit the tab key, type in bevel, poly bevel, and I'm going to increase this. I'm going to change it to round. And let's increase the roundness. And there we go. That's our rounded tip. Cool. The next part is I want to add some details here. Again, these are just my own personal decisions. You guys will obviously have something completely different. And I'm going to select these guys. And it looks like we have some issues with the geo. See here, something happened. Oh no, it's because of the topology changing. The grab nearest is not knowing what to select. So let's do it by hand. That's good. And just click on these guys. And I'm going to rotate them. Yes. E for that to create the edit. I'm going to rotate them and move this up. We can bevel this if we want to. Only bevel that. And let's change it to round. There is 2 edges here, so it's doing its best. But I think it's interesting, so we'll keep it. Topology is not great though. Don't need this. Yeah. Cool. So we have that. Let's move this up a bit. Okay. And I'm going to create this part, which is actually very simple. So I'm going to start with the same line that I had before. I am going to copy something from my previous setup. So just a line using a soft transform to do that. And then I'm going to extrude this. I'll extrude this guy. Global. Let's do this, and I'm gonna flatten it. So we have something like that, and I'm gonna extrude it, and let me resample it to reduce the number of points. Maybe 2, yep. And let's extrude it to the front to give it some thickness. And tick on output back. This is good. And what I want to do is I'm going to use this line here, and I'm going to create a poly wire out of it. Give it some thickness. Put some details. I'm going to run a boolean between that and this. And let's extrude these 2 guys so it's not exactly lined up with the geometry. And let's intersect. Okay, let's see why is this happening. So I'm gonna fuse this guy, make sure everything is good. This is a very simple geometry. I'm surprised that it's failing. So it's working there. Let's try intersect. It's working. Okay, let's add some more details. And let's fix the extrude now. Okay, well, I wanted to extrude, subtract, change the corners so that we have something more interesting, but it looks like it's not allowing me to do that, and I'm not so sure why. It's a very simple operation. And the geometry is, yeah, it's working now. Okay, let's try subtract. Maybe it's a viewport glitch. Okay, let's try a few more things. Let's turn this off and just use a transform. I want you guys to see this in real time. And let's turn this off. See if it improves now. Nope, still the same. But I have the same setup here working just fine. So I'm not so sure what is the issue with this. So I'm gonna ignore this part for now, and all I wanted to do is add some beveling to these guys. You can see there's this detail here, and that's coming, that's beveling, subtracting this the shape that I showed you guys from it. I'm not happy about this. Okay, so let's continue, and I'm actually gonna need that poly wire because I'm gonna place it as well. We didn't try a delete, so let me do this. I'm gonna turn these guys off. Let's do a clean. Maybe there is some issues, I don't know. So clean here as well. Okay, worked now. It looks like the geometry may have had some issues, and I'm gonna select these two. Or let's do it here better because I know the topology is not going to change for these. So let's transform them up like that. Okay. And okay, that's the geometry. Yes. And I'm gonna add another copy of this that is thinner behind it. So let's merge it. Okay, and I'm going to mirror this guy. Cool. And then yeah, let's mirror it one more time. And all this stuff I'm doing is I spend a lot of time trying to figure out what shapes works, but we're not going through that design process. It's not different from this. I just create multiple things and try them. This is one of the versions I remember doing, and I was not happy with it, so I didn't use it. But I used the top part. So here I'm just mirroring it. And I had a version with this being at the bottom as well as at the top. So let's do this. I'm going to use this version here and see we're getting some cool details there. Now the other thing I did, you can see there's two versions. I copied the same thing, and let's do it. Transform. Merge. I would prefer to recreate it again with the bigger proportions and keep the same cylinder and all these details the same, so it doesn't look like a scaled version. But for the time being, I'm gonna just scale it, and let's move it back so it's behind it. Cool. And let's mirror this. And I didn't have that part in my scene, so I'm going to only have the top part. And I'm gonna move it in. Let's see where the best place for that would be here. So I'm going to hold the Alt key, click and drag to add a dot. I'm going to move this in, like that. Maybe move it down. Something like that. And then I also extruded, so let's do it here. I also extruded one side to fill in the back of this, but again, you don't have to do this. Just some artistic decision I decided to do. Also, this extrude looks like there is a big intersection, so we can go back quickly and fix that. And that's the great thing about Houdini. So let's select these. And extrude them, and probably we should do it to the whole thing. So instead of just extruding that, I want to extrude these guys as well. And I'm going to use the global transform and just scale them down, move them all the way down. See, this design is also extruded, which is very, very cool. And we can scale them in a bit just to make a cooler design. We can maybe change this. We can do this. We can extrude multiple edges. It's actually going to be cool. So I'm gonna set this to something bigger, like that. I'm gonna increase this to 60. And right click. Points are selected. Soft transform, my favorite. I'm gonna scale in, and let's increase the radius. And do something like that maybe. Okay, let's add it. And now we have some cool pillar. And I think that's pretty much it. We're gonna do this in the next video, but for now I want to merge everything with what we've done. So this guy, and what else? I think we did some stuff to it with the boolean Maybe this was not saved. Yeah, maybe I didn't save it. Okay. So this. Cool. And I think that's it. I'm going to copy these two guys, connect them here, and let's move this all the way down. And the scale, I didn't care about this when I started, so let's fix that. Let's move it up. I think we also did some stuff, but it looks like, yeah, we did some more stuff definitely with these guys, but it looks like I don't have the latest scene, so I'll fix that, and hopefully I still have it. I didn't delete it. So let's move this here. Let's scale it up. And let's I'm gonna change it. I don't care about the other file. I'm just gonna select these guys. I'm gonna look from the top. Space 2 is the shortcut to that. I'm gonna hit T and move it. Yeah, the last thing, the only thing we added, it was this guy. We added some bevel and stuff, so it's not a big deal. And let's merge this with this guy. Okay, cool. And let's do a copy and transform. Looks like this is not rotated properly, but I think it's easy to fix. Looks like there's some few issues with the mesh, but I think you guys have a pretty good understanding what's happening. The last thing I want to add is I'm going to select all these guys. Let's select some faces instead. And hit the T, move them up as much as needed to cover all the way up to here. Okay, and then here I'm gonna move it back even further. Sorry, this guy. Okay, and let's increase this copy. 6. Let's back an instance, and there we go. We have our geometry, our pillars copied. Everything looks cool. It's not 100% the same in terms of all the measurements and proportions, but it's very, very, very close to what I've done. These things that you see are all from the shader, so we're going to do that as well. And I think that's pretty much it. I'm going to add the previous block that we built behind this. I'm going to do some layout in the next video. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in a bit.